Believing boldly isn't always easy. We grow tired, we grow complacent, we grow discouraged. But God has not left us to this task alone. He's given us a community of believers to help us keep believing. And when we find our faith, we go on to encourage others as well. The gospel message is shocking to many, shocking because of its implications. What once required special sacrifices and representative priests has been fulfilled by Jesus and is now available to any who believe. We have been given direct access to God Himself. The Bible encourages us to come to God with boldness. Our boldness in approaching Him does not come from our words or our achievements. Instead, it's based on God's promises. The Scriptures are full of His promises to us. So we ask, remembering His power and faithfulness, and we encourage those around us to do the same, to believe boldly. It is one of the greatest scenes of Jesus' ministry. There He was in a home in Capernaum, every doorway and window and corner packed with people, when suddenly a man was being lowered on a mat through the ceiling above. I imagine Jesus looked up to see not only this descending man, but his 4 friends peering through the new hole in the roof. The size of the crowd had kept the 4 from being able to bring their friend to Jesus. Even outside, they couldn't get close enough to get Jesus' attention. But they were determined. Who knows how far they had carried their friend because he couldn't walk there on his own. Having finally tracked Jesus down and arrived at that house, they weren't about to give up. It's interesting that the man in need never speaks in the story. Jesus looked up and saw the man's friends and responded to their faith. It's a remarkable image of friendship and one that has inspired generations of believers. These men cared enough to carry their friend to Jesus. They cared enough to tear a hole in a roof and lower him into the crowd. They cared enough to believe for him, to have faith that moved Jesus to forgive the man's sins and heal his body. What kind of celebration did they enjoy that night when their friend walked home with them? The story is moving because we have all been both characters, the man in need and the friends who cared so deeply. There are times when we need help, times when we struggle to believe for ourselves. And there are times when we provide encouragement to someone else facing a need. It is at the heart of the Christian faith, a friend willing to do what we can't. It's Jesus, willing to offer His life for ours. So we learn from Jesus Christ Himself what it looks like to encourage one another. We are always in this together. The Christian life is not meant to be lived alone. When we receive Jesus, we receive all who believe as brothers and sisters in Him. So we allow ourselves to be encouraged by others, and we commit ourselves to offer the same in return. It's no surprise that loneliness and isolation are so prevalent in our world today. This world is determined to rid us of faith, and we are never more vulnerable than when we are alone. Jesus did not come to build individual converts. He came to build a church and to save individuals and welcome them into a new family of God. I'm not naive. Sometimes it's these very relationships that make faith and participation so difficult. These very relationships meant to encourage us can just as frequently discourage us. But still, there's something here that Jesus calls us all to. Humbly, we take up that work, at times encouraging others, even when we need help ourselves. Ultimately, we encourage and support others because we have received the same first and foremost from Jesus. He is a true friend. He is a perfect brother. He is our constant reminder of God's love and power, and by Him, we set out into this lonely world willing to carry anyone we can to Jesus. We live to take others to Him. How can you encourage others?